It's Thursday, November 20th at about 10:53 a.m. and I'm down at Belle Park on the east side of Kingston, and I've come down here today to look for a rare bird that's been reported in the area, the tufted titmouse. And I was just lucky enough to see it. I met a fellow who had reported it for the last few weeks, and I wasn't sure where he was actually seeing it in this whole park area, but luckily I sort of figured out where it probably was being seen, and I just happened to see the fellow here actually. So we met, and he was feeding the birds, and luckily it was coming to the seeds, and we got some nice pictures of it. During my walk in today, I noticed white-throated sparrows at a few locations, and then I heard a surprising chattering call, and I wasn't sure what it was. But in the end, it turned out to be a Carolina wren. Another fairly rare bird in this area, so nice to see. This map shows the year-round range of the tufted titmouse in North America. In southern Ontario, it is found predominantly in the extreme southwestern portion of the province. Over the last few decades, the species has expanded its range northward and is now found at several other locations in southern Ontario. This map from iNaturalist provides a more detailed account of the tufted titmouse records throughout the years in southern Ontario. These now extend from extreme southwestern portions to the extreme southeastern portions of Ontario, as well as a few other scattered locations. With some sunflower seeds put out, it wasn't long before the titmouse arrived. And there it is, with the chickadees and nuthatches. Doesn't stay long, grabs the seed and takes off. The chickadees are constant, and the nuthatches were quite abundant this day too. There's the titmouse again. Grab a seed and fly off. Downy woodpecker showed up briefly. Preferentially, the tufted titmouse is a species of mature oak woodlands. However, they can be found in other types of forest as well. During the warmer summer months, the birds eat primarily insects of different types, but as the weather cools and winter arrives, they switch over to seeds and acorns. It seems hard to believe that a small bird like this could eat acorns, but they can crack through them and get the meat out. After moving to a new location in the forest, Hilbert offered some more seeds to the birds. And a lot of the birds follow you around because they know you're going to offer them some seeds. At this point, there's the tufted titmouse up in the tree above us. We were trying to see if it would come down to the hands like the other birds were doing, But after quite a bit of seed offering, the bird never quite got up the nerve to come to the hands. It would just sit back and wait for other seeds to drop, or for us to put down other little groups of seeds where it felt more comfortable coming to. So Hilbert has described quite a bit of the history of the site to me here this morning, and it's been very interesting, talking about the previous ownerships going back over 100 years and how the landscape has likely changed based on activities that had taken place from the initial purchaser of the property back in the early 1800s, who had a small house out here and was probably designing the area for timber harvest, and then later owners maybe had a little more concept of the significance of the site. What do you find interesting about this section of the island out here?
This is Belle Island. We're in the red oak forest on Belle Island. It's pretty much an even age structure forest with very few lighter stems, smaller stems, but lots of buckthorn. So our concern here on the island, as far as the buckthorn is concerned, is we have small seedlings of oaks coming up, but the buckthorn is shading out those small seedlings, and they're not able to mature to a larger stem that they might one day take over as being the forest.
So after our session with the Tufted Titmouse, Hilbert and I parted ways, and I made my way out to the east end of the island just to look over the water, see what ducks might be present. And as you can see, the ice is starting to form on the river now. Won't be long before it's totally enclosed. Just a look at the oak forest on the extreme eastern tip here before I start my journey back. So I'm starting my way back along the southern trail here, heading west through the beautiful oak canopy. And it isn't long before the chickadees find me, even though I have no seeds left. Sorry guys. All out of seeds now. Sorry guys. Wow. You guys are hungry, eh? As mentioned earlier, Belle Park has a long and complicated history with respect to human use and habitation in the past. In more recent times, Belle Park has been used for everything from a garbage dump to golf courses. Luckily, however, this island portion of the park has escaped the most damaging uses that have occurred elsewhere and still exists in really nice condition for the most part. As Hilbert emphasized earlier, one of the main threats to this portion of the park is the extensive growth of the non-native buckthorn shrub, which is simply covering in many of the areas underneath the oaks. This particular spot here in the western end is actually fairly free of the buckthorn. But the further you get to the east, the buckthorn becomes more abundant. And it's this eastern portion of the forest that holds perhaps the most significant area of solid red oak forest. Okay, I'm off the island now and heading west along a trail that cuts through an area that not long ago, since around the late 1970s, was a golf course. Prior to that time, from about 1952 to 1974, the area was used as a garbage dump, and this covered an area of about 44 hectares in size. The old golf course area that I'm still traveling through has been allowed to grow back to a large degree. They are continuing to mow trails through here to allow easy walking for people that want to access the park. So I think the day is warming up a bit. It was -2 when I got here this morning and quite chilly, but it is warming up. Probably about 1 or 2 now, I think. It's supposed to get up to 4 or 5 as far as I know today. So it's been a pretty good morning of birding down here so far. First thing I had not long after I got here was a Carolina wren, which was chattering away in the brush, and I wasn't even sure what it was because I hadn't heard that chatter before. So I got a few pictures of him, and then the tufted titmouse, of course, and lots of tundra swans out here in the open bays. So it's been pretty good. Lots of different ducks too. Here I'm ascending the main hill that, as far as I know, was used to store the predominance of the garbage. And at the top you get a nice view of the local surrounding park area. And you can see how rough the landscape has become, with fields growing in and trees and shrubs also moving in to some degree. So apparently the city is working on a strategy for this park. I'm not sure where it stands right now. Probably in a state of limbo because of all the various factors affecting the park. But hopefully, in the end, a unified strategy can be developed that can be enacted upon the place to try and preserve its most significant features. For there are a lot of significant features and values that should be protected here for the city and its residents to be able to enjoy.